5, 4,
Gotcha.
3.
All right, give me just a second.
I need a bigger desk.
Oh, you in now?
Oh, Robert, you grew a beard.
Huh?
You grow a beard?
You asked me, can I
We're
hear?
live now, guys.
Okay, we're live now. I call this meeting to order. Buster, will you open the meeting, please?
This meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen for the City of Cleveland is now in session. Anyone that has business before this board, please speak up and you will be heard.
Danny, I'm gonna get you to open.
Yes, sir.
Please.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity to let us come before you and handle the business of the city. Help everything that we say and do be in your will. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
We have two visitors tonight. We have Judson Dick Penn and representatives from the Lyric. Judson, can you put him on? Okay, Judson, can you hear us? Judson? 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 Okay, I see Kathy and Bob. Judson? I tell you what we'll do. We'll skip over and go to the Lyric Hotel and come back to Judson. Welcome, Bob and Kathy. We're glad to have y'all. And if you'll please give the reason for your business tonight. Whichever one of y'all want to take over, go ahead.
Okay, I'll take over. I'm Bob Wilbanks, and I am in charge of events and of one of the partners here at the Lyric Hotel. I'm not really sure exactly what the offering is as far as, hey Judson, as far as the soundstage is concerned. I've discussed with Dinesh what his thoughts were on it, and he his greatest desire is to purchase the stage outright and it be property of the hotel. So I don't know if that's an option. I know that there are a lot of partners involved in that. I was actually president of Delta Arts when the city purchased it, and we were of course partners who had bought into it. Really, I guess my first question is, what is the offering? What can we consider doing with it?
Well, we're going to discuss that later. We just wanted to hear exactly what y'all did have in mind. And
Okay.
Like you say, there are people, other entities involved. I think Chambers is one of them. So we will discuss that.
If it's not available to be purchased outright, we are interested possibly in, buying into it and, having an option to lease it also, just like the other partners, Junior Auxiliary, Delta Arts, and all those people are also. So I did understand also that there might be an option for us to take over the management as far as the bookings, the transportation, that kind of stuff, and the city might be able to store it because, of course, we don't have a facility large enough to house that. So if that could be in your considerations also. So the three scenarios are: one, to purchase it outright; two, to buy into it and have an opportunity to lease it like the other partners; or three, to possibly be part of a managing scenario where we would actually book it, transport it, and that kind of stuff, or whatever. So
What property are we talking about?
The sound stage.
Oh, the sound stage. Okay.
yes.
That ring a bell?
Yeah, I think I remember it.
Okay. Okay. Well, we very much will talk about that tonight and be more than happy to get back should we get back with Dinesh or?
You can call, I'm actually in charge of this, Billy, so, and you've got my cell number, just.
I
if you
do.
would-
I've had both y'all cell
Yeah.
numbers.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank
Okay,
you so
thank y'all
much.
for your time.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Judson, can you hear?
I can hear you now. I was just sitting there
Okay.
waiting to log on. and
Okay,
my
we're good.
mouth wasn't on, so I
Okay.
apologize. Can y'all hear
That's
me?
no
okay?
problem. Go ahead. You got stage. You got the floor,
Yeah. Yeah, the stage would be a different person. Couple of things, and I'll be brief on this. We have put off the decision on Oktoberfest for a good while. We're usually well into pretty much having it organized and planned out by now. But we put it off not knowing what the future was going to bring with this pandemic. But at our executive committee meeting last week, I just told them we've got to go and make a decision. We got to say, yes, we're going to do it, or no, we're not going to do it. So our discussion went all the way through figuring y'all still hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Discussing anything from, trying to figure out a way to socially distance, spread out barbecue teams and arts and crafts, all the way down to just trying to do some sidewalk sales or something for that weekend. So they were asking about getting Mississippi Department of Health and a lot of other regulations and see what we would have to do to do that. And I said, well, before we do that, we need to talk to the city, because there's no need to go into all that work. If the city is opposed to us having it with all the regulations that are in place. So that's my question tonight is do we proceed with Oktoberfest, or could we pare it down and do something that we can do safely, and get that permission when we decide what that is?
Judson, we had the conversation. Gary and I talked yesterday with you, and I just feel under the present situation, unless somebody has some really strong feelings they need to give us, that we have no alternative now. Public Works would be doing it, and as we know, we've had a couple of weeks where we've had to close the Public Works down. It would put a lot more on Buster and his group, and I just think, I was watching the national news a minute ago, and per capita, Mississippi going to number one in the country on this COVID thing. So I just think the timing and all the social distancing and everything that we're looking at today, that it would not be the thing to do, but it's a board decision.
I agree, Billy. My biggest concern is, when we deal with restaurants or any of the businesses in town, there's a way to minimize the crowd you're working with, because a room can hold so many people. The problem you got with Oktoberfest is twofold. Number one, there's no way to control the crowd. And number two, these barbecue teams and anybody that's ever participated in it before, these barbecue teams bring a lot of people with them. And I don't know how you can ask a barbecue team to come and expect them to bring just 4 or 5 people, because they're not going to do that. I mean, they come with their families.
I agree with Gary. I mean, that's influx. We're gonna get the clouds all over. I mean, not just Cleveland, but everywhere. So that's gonna be really tough.
Mayor.
What about just, we just look at a later date and then let's just see how things are going in a few months?
Paul, I
No,
said,
I think that's
yeah, I said the same thing. Hallmark has Christmas in July now. Why can't we have Oktoberfest in January?
January 5th.
Danny Abraham, you have a question?
Yes, Judson mentioned a second option about paring it down and doing something. I did not understand what you said, Judson. You said if we didn't have a full blown, what was your other option?
Well, I mean, we went all the way full blown, just spreading everything all the way down. They just doing sidewalks, having local markets do something, and blow, do something else along with that, something that would be safe.
I agree.
So, we had discussions.
I agree.
Well,
And you wouldn't,
I appreciate it. I figured that was going to be the answer, but I was asked by my board to come before the alderman and get that decision.
Well-
But we have it now.
Okay, Justin, I do want to ask y'all to help at the chamber with Dominic any way we can on this census 2020. We're already at 61%, which is better than the last we had, but people are going to start next Monday, I think, going house to house, and people are not going to want people coming in their house. We get a lot of funding through our census numbers, so any way the chamber can help Dominic with that, we'd sure appreciate that.
Yeah, my personal opinion on that, the way you're gonna get the best bang for the buck is through faith-based, touching base with churches and that kind of thing, getting
Right.
them to promote it.
Well,
And I think there has been some of that.
okay. If you will help us in that endeavor, we sure appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, I think that's all the visitors. We'll go into public hearings.
Thank y'all.
Thank
Thank
you, Justin.
Thanks, Justin.
Thanks, Judge.
At your public hearings pursuant to 21-1911 are brief. You have 1414 College Street, David Mullen Dance LLC. You have 510 South Bayou Avenue, Jimmy Jordan. You have one that's been removed here. Let's see, 811 Harvard Street, Dinesh Chawla. And 124 Turntable Place, Bolivar Estates, and that's complete. In order for you to have a motion and second to.
So move.
Danny made the motion. Maurice second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, engineering.
All right, guys, I believe y'all have a copy of my report. I'm going to hit the high points and action items, and feel free to stop me at any point if you have any questions. First up, we are recommending to award the low bid for the Fireman's Park bathroom renovation project. Cleveland Lumber.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
And on the pay request, if it's all right with you, I was going to go through all of them and have one motion.
That's a good idea.
How to expedite
You gotta
this.
pay 'em.
First up, Highway 8 and 61. We have a pay request for approval, and just a brief update. We have 8 circuits complete. 2 are turned on now. Hopefully, Energy will be installing meters on the other 6 in the next week or so. Fayette Davis Stormwater Lift Station, we have a pay request for approval. They're working on forming and pouring the pit walls this week. The fire station project is progressing nicely. They're working on the interior walls. We have a pay request for approval. The water meter replacement contract 1 and 2, we have 2 pay requests. The drainage or 2020 drainage project, we have a final pay request for some storm drainage repairs on Shelby. And we also will be accepting bids on the Fayette Davis piping project on the 12th. Next up on our park projects, we have a pay request for the Bollard project, which we're almost completed with. And then Fiducia Park contract 1, we have a pay request for approval. We have completed all of the dirt work and we're beginning to work on the utilities. And that's all I have.
Okay, we have a motion.
So moved.
Motion.
Robert made the motion. Paul second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any questions of Josh? Doing a great job, Josh.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Danny, city attorney.
Your consent agenda is before you for approval.
So moved.
So move.
Paul, Maurice second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Next thing under attorney in your packet, there is a revised agreement with C Spire that gives them a non-exclusive franchise. What we did was we met with their representatives and we had involvement from the relevant city departments, and we've made a few changes to what we agreed to go forward with, and it's now there for your approval. We've marked those changes in red. Some of those are Josh changes, some of those are Danny changes. Basically what you're doing is setting the rate. And what will happen is C-Spire will come in here, and if we have a meeting where they can visit, they want to come in and basically do a presentation to you on what they're going to do. What this is about is running residential fiber optic internet service in areas of Cleveland that want it. It will take enough people to sign up saying that they do want it. But once they do, C-Spire does the construction, and they charge rates, and at the percentages that are pretty much statutory set forth in the agreement, you have residential fiber optic internet service. So it would be in order for you to approve it. I do think
Hey,
it would
let
be
me ask-
helpful to have them come and explain a little bit about the process, because you're probably looking at 2021, Gary, before they do any construction.
Yeah.
Gary,
No, the only question I had, are there rates governed by the Public Service Commission?
There are in places, but there are maximums and minimums. There's one place where we've got a 4% rate. We could charge them up to 5%, but we've already agreed to a 4% rate on that category with the non-exclusive.
Okay, I wasn't talking about us as a city. I've had people ask me about fiber optic going into this area and what it's going to cost them. And I didn't know if public service set those rates. It may not be something we know.
Not perfect. All of the rates I saw came, I believe they were all statutory, Gary, but I don't want to rattle it off. I don't know. Off the top of my head.
I was just curious.
okay, we need a motion there.
Motion to approve.
Okay, Kirk made the motion, Gary second, all in favor, say aye. Okay, Gary,
Next thing, I
Dan,
got one more thing, Mr. Mayor, in the packet for you. That's non-executive session. There's a memorandum of understanding. We did had a tenant out at the airport exercise an option last month, and we've done a deed to them. And basically what they're doing, they're spending money and building a really nice large hangar. And their lender wants the assurance that, you know, it's a lease, so you can't really take a lien on the lease. But what this memorandum of understanding provides, it allows for a 90-day period in the event that they were to go into default for the lender to find somebody. Now that's not going to happen, but it helps facilitate them being able to borrow money. And it's certainly in the city's interest and legal. It would be in order for you to move and second to approve.
Maurice made the motion,
Second.
Paul second, all in favor, say aye. Okay,
That's it.
okay.
I have a question, Danny. Where
Yes.
are we with that hearing for the business on Sammy Rash?
Executive session.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes,
may I ask a question about the MOU very quickly?
sure, sure.
Danny, in that exercising the bank's right, is it anything that says that we would have to, that it would give the city the chance to approve their selection at that point, if that happened?
That's already in your lease as far as
That's in the original lease. Okay. Thank you.
It is.
Thank you.
This is, you wouldn't be able to borrow money to go out and do these nice improvements the folks are putting in if their lender doesn't have some form of an assurance.
Oh, I understand. I understand. Thank you.
Okay, Kenny?
My only thing I have is my monthly report and the addition of the inspectional report, if the board has any questions for me.
Questions of Kenny? Okay, Lisa?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm usually muted. The only thing I have to add to my report is that what I told y'all about in the department head meeting yesterday, a gentleman from Tupelo contacted me, has a very nice model train layout, very similar in scope to what we have, and he wants to donate it to us. Free of charge, donate, just come get it when he gets it packed up. It will almost double what we have in the way of model layout collections, free of charge, something that we store and something that we use. We won't have to have any kind of exhibit budget for next year, that's for sure. So it saves us some money too. But that's the biggest thing. The other thing is that we're not going to be able to have our retired railroad workers reunion this year that we have every year, but everybody agrees it's the best thing to do. So that's it.
Well, that's great. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, the gift is
Do we have to have
fantastic.
a motion to accept that? Do we have a motion to accept that, Dominique?
I guess it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, you making the motion,
I'll
Paul?
move it.
Paul made the
Yes.
motion.
Second.
Gary second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great. Okay, Buster.
Other than my report, the only other thing that I have to report on is we're still working with the camera project. The transmitters are not going to be an option. They were going to be extremely expensive, but we have found a third and final possibly option, and that was to be using the existing cabling system that's here in Cleveland through Sparklight. That would be a $100 a month per pole charge. So that's $1,200 a month per pole. Once you factor in all the other project costs, we well and above what we have budgeted. And I would make a suggestion that we start off with 4 to 5 poles, and that way we can get it within the budget. And I would just have to get with the board to see exactly where we would start with these cameras, since it would be limiting down to half or possibly 4.
Can I make a motion, Mayor, that we table this until budget hearings next week so that we can sit down and look at this again? And I mean, we're cutting it down to so small now that.
Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. We'll just wait. Paul made most.
We're going into
second. All in favor.
Maybe by chance we find something.
Right. I agree, Paul. We'll just move. That'll be a week from today. We'll start. So.
I have a question for Buster real quickly.
All right, Shirley.
Are we still under contract, Buster, with the collection agency on our fines?
Yes, sir, we are.
Okay, same.
It's not a contract. What it is, we just send them the fines and
Same deal we've been doing. We're still doing that. That's okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Greg.
We've had a pretty busy month. We had about 22 fires this month. Also been trying to keep up at the fire station alongside of Josh, with a few changes that are being made over there, and they're making a lot of good progress. The 2 biggest projects as far as fire safety in town are the 8 West district out there with the hotel, all of the restaurants. We've gotten all those things tested. Everything's up to date. I am awaiting pressure test and all to get hooked up at the Catholic Church to provide them with their pressure test and all. So all of that's going really, really well and really good. I want to thank Keith Christopher and his crew. If you'll notice the little blue placards in the middle of the streets, now there's a lot more of them. If you're going down the road, those are to allow us at nighttime to be able to see the hydrants on the right side or left side of the road, wherever they may be. Those are indicators. The rating bureau should be coming at the end of this year, the first of next year. So we're making a lot of preparations to get ready for them. The only other thing is we're affected by COVID as well. So we're trying to take all the precautions we can. We are looking at changes in the 100-year anniversary this year. So they'll probably push back with Mr. Thigpen speaking earlier. We know that we won't do it at Oktoberfest and possibly move it to Christmas, but we'll just keep everybody alert of that. Other than that, any questions anybody has, I'll be glad to answer.
Questions of Greg?
Mayor.
Kirk?
This Ted.
Oh, Ted, excuse me. I thought it was Kirk raised his hands. Go ahead, Ted.
Yeah. I don't know if my voice was coming through or not, but anyway, with Chief Bingham, I just wanted to mention that we are still having a problem on Pearl and Alo Street, speeding problem. And also, I want to mention that we still have about from anywhere from 12 to 15 boys just walk the street anywhere from 5:30 to about 9:30. And it's drawing the attention of the people living on those streets over there now, with which the police department will come in and kind of, monitor those streets a little closer.
Will you be available Monday or Tuesday of next week? to sit down and-
Yes, sir, I sure will.
All right, I'll get in contact with you and we'll sit down and discuss what we probably need to do.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hey, Buster,
Yes, sir.
are those tracking devices working on those cars?
Yes, sir.
Well, Chief, I don't know who's mandating that. I'm just gonna say this real quickly. I mean, because I see more people stationary in places, man, and I don't see how in the world they stay as long as they do if those tracking devices work and just sitting
Yeah.
there. And that's not patrolling.
You talking about on our cars, the GPS devices, or what are you talking about?
I'm talking about the ones on the patrol cars that we had to monitor the.
Yes, sir, they're working. And we get emails if you're sitting in a spot for too long, and we don't have a geo fence where we can tell exactly if they go out of a boundary area. We monitor speed and what's called an idle time.
Okay. Well, I guess that falls back on the supervisors. I'll let the supervisors handle that.
Okay, Kirk.
I'll save mine for the Alderman comments. I was just going to thank.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's see. Greg, Jamie.
Hey, y'all have my monthly report. I do always like to update it with what happens toward the end of the month. We did end up taking in 80 animals. It was 24 dogs and 56 cats. But we did manage to transfer out to rescues 82, which was 63 cats and 19 dogs. Yeah. Doing the best we can with COVID. Adoptions are down, but we're trying to transfer out as many as we can and just do things safely.
Have we heard back from the group that's going to do the building for us?
Yes.
Dominique and I have been getting emails this week, actually. They're planning
Okay.
on either coming down soon or doing a Zoom meeting or go to meeting.
Okay.
We have a meeting. We have a meeting on Friday.
Friday at 10 o'clock.
Okay, good, Danny. That's good.
Jamie, I'd
Okay.
like to talk to you about a situation with one customer who had his dog taken, I think the other day. Are you familiar with that situation?
We had a dog picked up, 2 different stray dog pit bulls picked up today, if that's the situation.
Yeah. Let me get with you maybe tomorrow and give me an update on that, please.
Sure thing, we'll do.
Thank you.
Okay. Keith, are you with us, Keith Christopher?
Yeah, I don't think my video was working.
You must be in the recliner. Go ahead.
I am. I'm nothing to look at anyway. I turned in my report, but I've got 2 things that we need to go over quickly. One of them, I am getting a rash of calls, and I talked to a couple of y'all about this. This insurance company is advertising on TV that for a small fee of $20 a month, they will insure your water and sewer lines from the street to the house. But as a part of that, if you agree to it, you have to have a clean out installed out behind the curb. And I'm getting bashed with calls for people that are wanting to clean out behind the curb. But I'm of the opinion that if they want to clean out behind the curb, they need to take that up with a plumber. I don't think the city needs to become a plumber and get out here and start installing. We don't have the manpower anyway, but I think we would be ill-advised to start putting cleanouts out by the curb just because customers demanding one. And I think if we do that, what we're going to run into, we're going to have people, we're going to go out there and put a clean out in, and 3 or 4 months down the road, we're going to get a call. I had never had a sewer problem, so y'all put that clean out in.
Yeah.
I think if it's okay with the board, I'm just going to tell these people that if they want to clean out behind the curb on their property line, they just need to hire a plumber, that we're not in the plumbing business, if that's okay with this board.
I agree.
I agree.
All right.
Any questions? Go ahead. Go ahead.
The last on my list is something I've been battling with for 2 months and finally got it settled yesterday, is the upcoming budget numbers. And I had told some of y'all 2 months ago that it was going to be my wishes that we were going to toe the line, that we're all in this corona thing together, and everybody's suffering, and municipalities are suffering, citizens are suffering, and at this point in time, we don't need any added expenses or increases. And I'm proud to say that finally they listened to me. They didn't like what they heard, but we came to an agreement, and I give the papers to Dominique. It's just a little 4-page amendment to the contract. We have agreed to purchase a tractor just like I said we would. There will be no CPI increases this year, and we are reducing some maintenance costs about $22,000. So at the end of the year and the start of October 1, our budget to y'all will actually be almost $24,000 less than it currently is.
That's music. That's music to our ears.
So, you know, it was tough. I took a couple of black eyes when you're sitting before a lawyer from Philadelphia and a CFO from Florida and this, that, and another. They didn't really want to see it eye to eye with me, but I finally told them, I said, look, I presented this budget every year for 30 years, and if y'all can't go along with me, I'm going to let y'all present it to the city. So after going through all that, we succeeded, and I felt like the city would be pleased with it. It's not much of a decrease, but it beats the heck out of a little increase.
It does, and we appreciate it.
And Mayor, if you will look at this thing in the morning, it's just a little, only thing is the tractor and the reduction of the maintenance cost and the fact that it says there'll be no increase this year as far as CPI goes. If you'll sign this document, I give a 4 for you to sign, or I can get it turned back in, because they're not going to let me get the tractor till it's turned back in, and I'm in bad need of the tractor.
Yes, sir, we'll do that.
So the board
And
just
that's
needs
all.
to approve that.
Yeah.
Make a motion.
Paul
Yeah,
made the
I guess-
motion.
Second.
Maurice second. All in favor, say aye. Okay, go ahead, Keith.
All right, and one other thing, we're like everybody else. We're fighting the corona. I got 2 with it, or they've got family members living with them that's got it. So I'm having to quarantine them, but I'm trying my best to keep them at work. Trying to keep everybody happy, and I appreciate all the consideration that y'all give us.
Thank you, Keith.
Please tell me it's not Charles, Keith.
Okay, Ray Bell.
Good evening. Y'all have my report. Everything's in my report. Unless you have a question for me, glad to answer.
Ray, I do. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about B Street. I don't know if you were told the other day, your street supervisor came over, and I think he had the guys to come back and put some on Beach. Beach is just unlevel, and the concern that those neighbors have is that once you drive down B Street, and if you don't watch it, eventually a car will leave one side of their lane and end up in the other one. So I'm just trying to see if there's anything immediately we can do with that street.
Well, we looked at it the other day when we went over there and looked at that street. What's going to happen? We're going to have to turn that over to the engineering department, because there's something happening up under the street in the bedding, and what it is in the middle of the street is sinking right over top of your big main line that run down through the middle of the street. And we go over and patch those holes and things, but something is taking dirt away in that whole line down through there. And the only way to really fix that street, we're gonna have to turn over to the engineering department, let them camera it to see what's going on with that piping, and maybe have to go ahead and tear it out and redo the bed under like we had to do East Over some years ago in order to get it where to hold up.
You're writing that down, aren't you, Josh? Looks like you're writing it down.
Well, Ray, I'll be so kind to go by and let them know it's work in progress then.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay, other questions of Ray Bell? Okay, Clint?
Good evening. I've got several things for y'all this evening, actually. First, if you look in my report, I just kind of give an overview of our 2020 FAA project and how it all went down. As you remember, we went out to bid several months ago. The contractor was in the process of getting their license renewed whenever COVID hit. And anyway, we found out a few weeks ago that their request for renewal was denied. So after speaking with FAA, we had to quickly turn around and rebid the project. And we received 3 bids, and actually it actually came out in our favor. 2 bids were well underneath what our previous bid was. And in my report, I actually list Axtels as being the lowest bidder, and they technically are. But after further review, by the engineers, they found some discrepancies in their bid packet with their licensing. So they have made the recommendation to go with Metro Construction, which is actually about 37,000 less than our previous bid. So if you could, we'd like to go ahead and award that to them and start moving forward with the project.
Okay, need a motion. Kirk made the
I'll
motion,
move.
Gary second. All in favor, say aye. Okay.
The second thing I have is an amendment from Barge Wagner, and basically, since they had to rebid the project, this amendment's to cover their additional expenses of rebidding.
Okay, do you want to do all, you want to do all three on the same, unless there are any questions?
Do the authorization separate and then do the two pay requests together.
Okay, all right, authorization, make a motion.
So moved.
Maurice, Gary, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, pay request. Go ahead, Clint.
And other than that, I've got two pay requests, one for our pavement rehab project and then one for the ramp.
So moved.
Okay, Gary made the motion. Second by Robert, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, questions of Clint? Okay, Jason?
All right, so outside of my monthly report, I do have two things. I would like to get approval to proceed with the Bear Pen tennis lighting project. That is a project too that we will get a grant for $5,500 after that's completed to help with that project. So I would like to get approval on that.
Okay. Robert made a motion, Danny second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
And the second thing I want to discuss is I would like to get approval to have a fall softball and baseball league this year. Normally we're playing football around this time, and I guess due to COVID, it's a lot of contact with that. So trying to give the kids something to do. And I do have a proposal to start signups this week and actually start play in mid-September and go through mid to late October on that. So any questions on that?
Sounds like a good idea.
It does.
Okay, got a motion?
I'll make
Do we need one?
I don't.
No, I don't think we do. No, I think that's, you handled the other prior to this real well.
Everything went pretty smooth with the one that we did in July. So I think we can have a same outturn with this one.
Right. People want to be outside.
Right.
Okay. Anything else, Jason?
I have a question, Mayor.
Okay, Maurice.
I just wondered, Jason, have we made any progress? You was talking last month about putting some lights up at Amsmore Park. Have you made any progress on that?
Like I said, we have the bids. That is something that once we do these projects that we have here with the Fireman's Park project and with the tennis court project, we need to look at our funds, how much we have left with the bond money to complete that last project. So that would probably be something that we're going to discuss next month.
And we can discuss it next week.
We can discuss it next week.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have
Andy,
two
you
quick.
got something?
Yes, sir. Two quick questions. Jason, can you give us an update on your advisory board situation?
Yes, we actually have a meeting set up this coming up Thursday for that. So we're going to try to start our monthly meetings.
You have a representative from pretty much all of the wards now?
I've got a representative from every ward. There's a few people that can't make it this week, but we should have enough to have a meeting this week.
Okay. The second thing, congratulations on your Mississippi Tennis Association grant for the 5,500. You can piggyback it if you'll go to the USTA and the United States Tennis Association. Once you get the MTA, the USTA will try to work with you to piggyback that grant.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
And get with me or John Cox, either one, we can talk to you about it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Jason, what are those poles out there at Amsmore Park? Where are they going? I saw the poles out today and they were landing.
Yeah, well, we already did the poles and the ropes around the parking area for the baseball fields. And then the rest of the poles and the ropes are really going to be at the entrances, at the walking trail and the entrance to the park.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Dominique?
All right, so the only thing I have really is just the appointment of Heather Walker to the Cleveland Library Commission.
So moved.
Okay, Danny made the
Second.
motion. Robert second. All in favor, say aye.
All
Okay.
right, two things. We have budget session next week, starting on Tuesday. I'm gonna get you guys the electronic copies of the budget spreadsheets and the supplemental information probably tomorrow or Thursday. And then the books started being printed today, so I'm hoping I'll have those within the next day or so that you guys can maybe stop by City Hall to pick up. So those are coming. The next thing, the mayor mentioned it earlier about the census. So the enumerators, or the people that actually come and knock on your door, will start on Monday, August 11th. So the big push right now, and I'll send you guys a graphic that if you have personal social media accounts, or your pastor or whoever, if y'all could send that graphic to them. But the push is to try to eliminate as many doors that they have to knock on as possible. So if we can get people to call in and respond or do it online, that would be great. And then they will be in the field from basically August 11th through the end of September. And they're hoping to finish the count by October 31st.
But they know who's responded, right?
Yes, they know who's responded. They know down to the tract of people who have not responded. So again, we're at 60%. And so we're just trying, the goal is to get up to 80% response rate for the city. So just be spreading the word on that.
Okay, thank you. Heather?
Good afternoon. The first thing I have, the employee action recommendations for approval. I only have one item for the PD.
So move.
Robert, Maurice?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay. Anything else, Heather?
And the next thing you'll see is on the progressive disciplinary policy. I'm not asking for approval for that tonight. There's going to be some language that Danny and I are going to get together and change to clear up. So that's just submitted for review, and I'll ask for approval next month.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Alderman Robert, anything?
Mayor, I just got one thing, and I wanted to make sure that I'm saying it correctly. As we approach budget sessions, if we are going to do any pay raises for just not only department heads, anyone, can we have an evaluation suffice while justifying that pay raise?
I don't know. Oh, well.
So every year we provide you guys a copy of all of the annual evaluations for each employee. And so we'll have those to you guys to review. We should have those to you Monday, if not Friday afternoon.
Okay, thank you, Dominic.
Okay, Danny.
Just want to say special thanks to Keith Christopher and his men for helping on the situation this past week. Thanks to all the department heads. Thank you.
Maurice?
I have nothing at this time, Mayor.
Okay, Ted?
He's muted.
He's muted, okay. All right, Gary?
The only thing I want to say was this, we've been talking about these cameras forever. I find it hard to believe there's not any Homeland Security money out there. And if there's somebody that can check on that for us, are we using that lady in Oxford anymore for anything?
No,
I don't think so.
We're not.
Let me do some checking through congressional sources and see if we can explore that, Gary. I agree with you.
Good idea.
Yeah, that's my only point. We're going to need some help because putting it on 5 poles ain't going to get it. It's a waste of time.
I agree with that, Gary.
Paul?
You're muted.
Mayor, I had something.
I'm good.
Okay, yeah, I skipped Kurt.
I just wanted to thank the fire department. We had a very minor problem, but they are so professional and trained, and they're just really an amazing group to watch.
Great source of pride.
Until you have a need for them, you don't really appreciate it, but I just want to shout that out for them.
Right. And all I've got, I'm sure all y'all know the governor did his statewide mask deal for 2 weeks, and they named 6 counties that the schools were going to start a little later, and Bolivar County is one of them, so that'll be something different our school system is going to be going through. So anyway, that's all I've got. And Kirk, if you'll.
I make a motion, we consider entering executive session to transact business, discuss any action involving security personnel, plans, and devices.
Okay. Kirk
Second.
made a motion. Robert second. All in favor, say aye.
I
Okay.
make a motion, we enter executive session for those purposes.
Kirk,
Second.
Robert, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Dominique, if you'll